Welcome back to ProSex Studio. I'm Brian Downs, and on this channel we examine the sexual subtext in messaging in popular films and influential television shows. Today we are going to examine the sexual message of the most consequential teenage titty comedy in all of film, Fast Times at Ridgemont High from 1982. Written for the screen by Cameron Crowe, who adapted it from his novel of the same name, Fast Times features a young cast that would go on to do great things. Can you believe 3 of these kids went on to win a total of 4 Oscars? Including the dude in the pizzeria with only one line? That's Nicolas Cage. The Sexy Cat. Fast Times is about teenagers in a fictional California town in the early 1980s. It opens with a montage of an evening at the Ridgemont Mall. This is our first look at most of the major characters, but more importantly, it stuns with the way it presents sex. Boys look at girls, girls look at boys, and the girls have put on their Jordache jeans for the occasion. All of this is set to the pounding rhythm of We Got the Beat by the Go-Go's, a trailblazing all-female new wave group of the period. Then a stereo salesman walks into Perry's Pizza, and the film really takes off. All of the waitresses huddle up to grin about his cute little butt and debate about who will have the pleasure of serving him. It goes to Stacey Hamilton, played by Jennifer Jason Leigh, who already had a number of credits on her resume in spite of being so young. Stacey is 15 years old, but she goes right up to his table, laughs at his jokes, tells him that she is 19, and exchanges phone numbers. His name is Ron Johnson, and he's 26. Stacey's friend and co-worker Linda, played by Phoebe Cates, encourages Stacey to swing against the cultural norm by calling Mr. Johnson instead of waiting for him to call her. This film opens with a sequence about girls joyfully pursuing some of that Johnson. And none of the girls turn out to be werewolves, cannibals, or KGB agents. You've just got to go back to 1982 to find this kind of sex positivity, although this material was controversial even then. Kudos to Fast Times for making this creative decision. My YouTube audience can Google what a stereo salesman was. Then it's the first day of school, and we're in the Ridgemont High cafeteria where Stacey gets some tutoring from Linda on the proper handling of a carrot. After only a little gagging, Stacey gets the hang of this job and a round of applause from 7 guys at the next table over. Stacey blushes and ducks her head. She's embarrassed, but she's smiling when she does it. And the boys are nothing but smiles. And imagine this scene in the hideously priggish Easy A in 2010. Stacey's reputation would be shattered, and the shame of this lesson in the cafeteria would be a weight on her for the rest of the film. But in Fast Times, it's a one-off joke that ends with grins and applause. This same day is the first time that Mark Ratner lays his eyes on Stacey. They're classmates in biology, and while Mark is in love right away, "I'm in love," he tells a friend. He is too shy to strike up a conversation. After school, Mark's pal, Mike Damone, upbraids him for his reticence and urges him to be more forward, reinforcing the film's message that if you're attracted to someone, you should introduce yourself. Sure, Damone is a slickster who should give up scalping Van Halen tickets and figure out how to bottle his bullshit instead, but he's not wrong. That very same night, Stacey sneaks out of her bedroom window and races joyfully down the street for a meeting with Johnson, the stereo salesman. He asks her where she'd like to go. When she has no suggestions, he says, "How about the point?" She smiles and agrees. Off they go to the secluded point. Alone together, he asks her again if she's 19. She tells him that she is, and then they do it. We see her breasts. The next day at school, Stacey tells her friend Linda that she likes Ron, but it hurts so bad. Linda smiles at her and tells her to keep doing it. It gets better. A few minutes later in the film, and a few months later in the lives of our heroes, Stacey admits to Linda that she is annoyed because Ron has stopped calling her. Linda tells her that Ron was just a stereo salesman. Was she going to marry a stereo salesman? Forget him. Move on. And that's that. Stacey decided to lose her virginity to an older guy, and she did. When he ghosts her, she lets him go with nothing more than an annoyed pout. She's not ruined. She's not shattered. It was a minor misadventure, and 2 minutes later, she's accepting a date with Ratner, who has finally gathered the courage to introduce himself. Largely because of his life coach, Damone, telling him, now stop fucking around and go get her. And on top of that, the movie doesn't serve Johnson a comeuppance. Instead of devoting a close-up to him getting kicked in the crotch or something, the movie just lets him vanish. So, Ratner and Stacy go out to dinner. There are some comedic hijinks when Ratner forgets his wallet, but they survive. He drives her home and she invites him in. Her parents are out of town. Her brother is out on the town. They are alone. She knew that when she invited him in. She asks him if he would mind if she changed her clothes. She asks him to do her the favor of unzipping the back of her dress. She changes into her bathrobe and invites him to come into her bedroom and sit right next to her, thigh to thigh, on her bed. Stacy knows exactly what Stacy is doing. So, she asks, her face inches from his, "What do you want to do?" The inexperienced Ratner says, "I don't know." But Stacy, who knows what she is doing, maneuvers him into an embrace and guides him down onto the bed with her. But Ratner loses his nerve, makes excuses, and bolts. Stacy tried to do it with Ratner, but very much contrary to our Puritan zeitgeist, the film doesn't make Stacy out to be a villain or a psycho or a booby trap. The lesson isn't that Ratner did the right thing by leaving, but rather that he needs steadier nerves and a bolder heart if he wants to have a successful love life. This is rarely seen. Stacy reads Ratner's flight from her bedroom as a conclusive rejection. She made the first move, she made the second move, his move was out the door. This disappoints her because she was really starting to like him, as she tells her friend Linda, and Ratner told Mike Damone that he was in love with Stacy the first day he saw her. Incredibly, the lesson is not that they shouldn't have gotten in bed together. The lesson is that Ratner needs stronger nerves. No video essay on Fast Times at Ridgemont High could get a passing grade without devoting time to Jeff Spicoli, played by Sean Penn. Spicoli is a handsome, blonde, often shirtless stoner surfer who has no rational place in this movie. He never touches the main plot line of the romantic lives of Stacy, Ratner, and Damone. He has no character arc at all. He barely has any character, and yet he is Fast Times' mascot. It's his face on the movie poster. It's his face on the cover of the Blu-ray disc. When Spicoli dreams of himself as a famous surfing champion, he has a bikini model on each arm. And the walls of his teenage bedroom are papered in Playboy centerfolds, but strangely, this handsome hedonist has no lover. He has no ex. He isn't even pursuing anyone. Usually this is the negative meme, serious people don't sex. Heroes, people with responsibilities, people on whom others depend, don't have sex lives because it would be irresponsible or something. See Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But Spicoli is not a hero, he's a dipshit. So this might be sexy celibates where extremely attractive people inexplicably have no partners, but I can't put this in the minus column because other characters do have sex lives. One celibate man doesn't make the entire movie anti-sex. Sidebar. It's interesting that an image of nudity is more permissible. What I mean is this film can clearly show us 5 pairs of breasts and the centerfolds thumbtacked to Spicoli's walls. Is it going to show us 5 actresses standing undressed in his room? No. This might be because 5 nude women joining Spicoli in his bedroom is too erotic. But 5 photographs are allowed. Or maybe paying 5 actresses to do a nude scene is just too expensive. In any case, we the audience see the same number of breasts. What's the difference? Now let's talk about Brad Hamilton, played by Judge Reinhold. Brad is Stacy's older brother. They get along well, but Brad's story is, like Spicoli's, strangely divorced from the A-plot. And Brad's story is one of failure. Brad is a senior at Ridgemont High. He's been going with his girlfriend Lisa for 2 years, but Lisa will not go to bed with him. He's planning on ending the relationship so that he can enjoy his last year of high school as a single man. But then he gets fired from his job at Bronco Burger, and Lisa dumps him because they owe it to themselves to be free. Brad soon gets another job at a seafood restaurant wearing a stupid hat, but he's going to quit that one. Brad's embarrassments come to a climax when he comes home from work one day to find his sister Stacy entertaining friends in the pool. Ratner, who is still trying to figure out how to connect with her, Damone, who is cheerleading for Ratner, and Stacy's confidant and advisor, Linda, wearing one of the best chosen bikinis of the 1980s. Brad barely nods hello to Linda, but the sight of her inflames him. He goes into the bathroom and throws himself into a fantasy sequence where Linda emerges from the pool, unsnaps her top, and kisses him. We see not only a spectacular Phoebe Cates in one of the best chosen half of bikinis of the 1980s, but we also see Brad's elbow bouncing while he's making a happy face on the John. That is until Linda walks in and is shocked to find Brad in blaster practice with Hand Solo. Brad is interested in sex. He's fantasizing about Linda, he's warming up his ray gun, and zappo, something bad happens to him as a result. And this follows getting dumped by Lisa, his girlfriend of 2 years, after she parried his interest in going to bed with her. Brad's life seems to be made up of negative meme number 1, the wanting disaster, wherein any character who wants sex, pursues sex, has sex even with himself or with Linda in a fantasy, then has something bad happen to him immediately afterward. But that said, the bathroom incident, like Stacy's practice session with the carrot in the cafeteria, is a one-off joke. It is never mentioned again. It doesn't seem to damage Brad's social standing or have any long-term consequence. It's not something he has to redeem himself for or apologize for, and so it's not something you would see in a modern movie. Fast Times deserves credit for that. Now we return to the story of Stacy's love life. One afternoon, as school lets out, Stacy comes jogging after Mike Damone, calling his name. Damone says to her, "Listen, Mark Ratner really likes you. Do you like him?" Stacy holds eye contact while she replies, "Mark is really nice, but I think I like you." Which quickly leads to Damone walking her home. He asks if she has any iced tea. She invites him in. He mentions that it must be nice having a pool. She invites him to swim. But first, he'll have to change in the little pool hut in the backyard. She doesn't point at the changing room. She leads him in. Stacy, as always and to her credit, knows what she is doing. Another nude scene. I don't blame Damone for having sex with Stacy. Damone did everything he could to encourage Ratner to make his feelings known. Finally, Damone himself tells Stacy point blank that Ratner is interested in her. And remember that Ratner walked out of his opportunity with Stacy. But Damone's performance with Stacy is very short. Embarrassed, he scoots on out of her house as fast as he can, leaving a bewildered, still undressed Stacy on the changing room couch. And now, Fast Times is swerving into the sex-negative lane. Stacy is an attractive young woman who pursues her sex life with deliberate determination. She's had 3 encounters. Johnson, which was painful and resulted in ghosting, Ratner, who all but fled screaming from her kisses, and Damone, who short strokes it and bails out. And things are about to get worse, because Stacy is pregnant. When she tells this news to Damone, she also tells him that she already has an abortion scheduled. What she wants from him is $75, half the price of the procedure, and a ride to the free clinic. Damone says that he will do both, and then he does neither. He tries to raise the $75 from his debtors, but cannot. On the ride, he just bitches out. This is bitch out behavior, but I have sympathy for Damone. The situation has shocked him badly, and he's just a kid in high school. The film does devote a lot of screen time to Damone's punishment. Stacy's friend Linda vandalizes his car, and Damone and Ratner nearly come to blows before they are separated by a teacher. So this is starting to look a lot like the negative meme, the wanting disaster, where having sex, pursuing sex, being interested in sex leads to a bad result right away, and your problem is sex, wherein any protagonist who is interested in having sex has got a problem. That's their character flaw. That's what they need to grow out of or overcome. But by the end of the film, Damone apologizes to Ratner, although not to Stacy, and they reconcile as friends. Brad is doing well at his new job at Mighty Mart, and Ratner and Stacy are having a passionate love affair, having finally managed to connect. But they still haven't gone all the way, as a placard informs us over the end credits. Oh, Fast Times, you came so close. I'm giving you a B- for sex positivity. But in the end, you chose to say, here's Stacy, who pursues sex with deliberate determination, who has sex, who has 3 failed attempts, or not failed, but attempts with bad results. With Johnson, he ghosted her, and it was a painful first sexual experience. With Ratner, he ran away. With Damone, an abortion was the result. And then, in the end, we're all supposed to applaud when Stacy does manage to launch a romantic relationship with Ratner that doesn't include penises going into vaginas. But that said, a very interesting film, a fascinating view on sex, and a refreshingly complex one. Typically, what movies tell us is that sex is bad. If you meet a woman who's interested in sex, she's either a werewolf or a KGB agent or trying to frame you for the murder of her husband. It's nice to watch an exception. I'm Brian Downs. This is Pro Sex Studio. Please come back next week for more of the same. Don't forget to like and subscribe before you go.